Hello, welcome to STH English. You must be watching with great interest the debate going on in Lok Sabha, not because of the opposition sloganeering and the fact that the opposition is taking the Modi government to task on the so-called Operation Sindoor, but because how Operation Sindoor and its various facets are being now justified. If you have bent your ear to the statements made by the defense minister or made by Jay Shankar or Ajit Doval, you would have really had to be surprised if you were to be given a sense of reality on these statements. The statements seem to be coming from a different planet altogether, like planet Mars or somewhere. They bear no relevance to reality. They create a fiction of victory. And most disturbingly, these statements talk about a future which seems to take in its stride the prospect of a nuclear holocaust. So they are talking about nuclear holocaust as if this is going to be another mela or some sort of a public festival where people will be standing at the rooftops or lining up the roads and looking at missiles flying across the borders carrying nuclear warheads. They're making it sound like a sport which is witnessed as a real time, a real life event without affecting the audience. This is the most disturbing part of it. So when you hear out of Lok Sabha, representatives of the Modi government make the claim that Pakistan's nuclear strikes will not touch India. However, if we were to use the nuclear strikes against Pakistan's name to give you a literal translation and Pakistan's physical being to give you a literal translation will completely be wiped off the map of the world. And one really wonders which sort of la-la land these guys are living in, have not read enough about the destruction of nuclear weapons. Have they not read enough about Pakistan's nuclear capability? Have they not been immersed in the orientation about Pakistan's second strike capability? I mean, where have they been living all this life? They are pretty much in the category where people need to retire and go to old age home and not bother the world with whatever strange thoughts they have. But they are in immense positions of power. Somebody is a national security advisor, another person is heading the intelligence, and yet another is heading the defense setup. So when you have these people support a man with uncontrollable and ill-timely laughter, i.e. Narendra Modi, you have a very disturbing picture that emerged out of Lok Sabha. I spoke to the Pakistani ambassador to the US last night on my program, and he made some very interesting observations. So according to Rizwan Sheikh, 3 points stand out as far as Pakistan-India's standoff was concerned. Number one, I asked him in a point-blank way, how did the process of negotiations for a ceasefire started? And he was very emphatic and unequivocal when he said this. And I paraphrase him. He said that the Americans approached me as an ambassador of Pakistan to Washington on behalf of the Indians that they are somewhat now ready to talk peace. That's the Pakistani ambassador putting these things on the record. Bureaucrats have a way of skirting around the main issue. If he did not want to commit to this position, he would not have committed to this position. He also knows that the factual, if they run against his stated position, would come out one way or the other. So he is putting out this statement not as a counter to what you heard in Lok Sabha, but as a fact of the matter. So the fact of the matter is that the Indians approached the Americans, and the Americans, on behalf of the Indians, approached Pakistanis. This was not the only via that the Americans were using, that is the offices of the ambassador. Other vias were also available. There were telephone conversations directly to Pindi as well. But all was done on behalf of the Indians. So point number one. Point number two is even more interesting. The ambassador was emphatic in saying that Pakistan had locked on to 20 Rafale. 20 Rafale were on Pakistan's radars, locked to be shot down. Pakistan chose to shoot down only 5 of those aircraft, which had unloaded their ammunition against Pakistan. So while Pakistan could have really run amok as far as shooting down of the Indian aircraft was concerned and created multiple embarrassments for India by piling up the numbers of the shot down aircraft, Pakistan chose to only go after those aircraft which were being used against Pakistan. And the third point is related to the second point. This shows, the ambassador said, that Pakistan didn't want to escalate. Pakistan did not want to go beyond what Pakistan needed to do. So this is how Pakistan's matrix works, that you calibrate your response. You do not want trouble, you do not invite trouble, but when trouble comes chasing you, you hit back. If you hear what the Lok Sabha debate is telling you as far as the government is concerned, it is the exact opposite of this. It is full of bombast. It is full of great hurrahs, self-proclaimed and self-claimed victories, and a future in which Pakistan will either have to bow to the Indian might or Pakistan will cease to exist. That creates a very scary scenario. You have old, doddering men who have lived most of their lives holding a vast number of people, not just the subcontinent, but areas around it, Southwest Asia, Southeast Asia included, hostage to their strange view of life. They don't have many years to live. Most of them are has-been as far as their careers are concerned. If they were not tied to the apron strings of the Modi government, perhaps they would have retired and would be, telling their grandchildren stories of the great things that they did, though the grandchildren could have turned back and said that if you were so great, why half of India defecates in the open? They could have asked them those questions. But instead of being in that position, by sheer misfortune of this region, these guys are in power in India. The opposition, of course, is giving the Modi government a very tough time, but Modi government seems to have gotten the kind of thick skin that is produced by the Trump industries. They do not listen to reason. They do not want to accept fact, and they continue to talk in the language of war. And in that language of war, now they have also started to include the language of nuclear holocaust as well. That is something for Indians to contemplate. If war is imposed on Pakistan, Pakistan will respond and will respond decisively. But there is a certain restraint that Pakistan observes whenever Pakistan responds. Whereas the Indians have to ask themselves and ask their leaders very clearly, which path are you taking this India to? Which sort of shining India will that be, which has just gone through the Holocaust of a nuclear war? Do you not understand the geographic proximity? Do you not understand which way the wind blows? Do you not understand how radiation will spread? I mean, which part of nuclear talk you do not understand? And if you do not understand that, we will not allow you to hold our children's future responsible. Modi has no progeny to worry about. But Indians who are prolific when it comes to producing children have a big future. That India has to speak up to the madness and absolute lunacy that these graying old men are imposing, not just on this region, but also on their own country as well. And as the Russians are telling the Americans in a different context altogether, Russia is not Iran. Russia is a different country altogether. And before you begin to tell Russia to come to the peace table, Russians are telling the Americans, fix your own country. So Indians have to fix their own government, because this government is bent upon taking India on the road that is a road to nuclear hell and goes nowhere. As I said, Pakistan's policy is very clear. The table is out there. If you have issues, come and talk to us. But if you want to talk war, you will get war. But Indians have to ask themselves and their leaders, is that the future that was promised to us?